Hello and welcome to Parish and Community. My special guest today is Joanna Boyd-Wilhite from the staff. She works in the Youth Faith Formation Program and is going to be leaving us shortly, so I had to get in a conversation before she left. So Joanna, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Tell me how you first got connected with College Church.
So I'm going to answer your question with a question. Do you mean in a personal capacity, a professional capacity, or both?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I did my undergraduate work here at SLU, and if you go to SLU and you never go to College Church, have you really gone to SLU? I think it's obligatory to go to at least one campus ministry mass during your time as a SLU undergrad, and I did do that. I don't think I was a frequent attender. I opted more for kind of the weekday evening masses that we would often do in the chapel. But also relevant is during that time I wasn't Catholic. I actually went through RCIA as an undergrad. Father Chris Collins, who used to work at the university, was my mentor, and he took me through that process. So my connection with College Church, that's kind of where it started, but it was still very peripheral. But in a professional capacity, I was actually at Marquette pursuing my master's degree in English literature. And part-time, I was the student archivist on the Dorothy Day canonization project.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a little fun bit of trivia about myself and the little odds and ends jobs I've done. But it was actually during that archival work, and really all I did, it sounds much cooler than it was. I seriously just took her letters and mail, her personal mail, I will add. You want to know what a very strange job is? An archivist pretty much goes through all of people's mail, and it made me feel very weird and kind of like I was intruding on on her privacy a little bit. But during that time, I got to read a lot of her letters. Like the one that really stands out to me was she had some exchanges with Cesar Chavez.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, many other famous people as well. But it was really powerful seeing the type of correspondences and connections she had. And as I was kind of doing both the things that a grad student does and an archivist does, I realized that I wasn't really feeling like I was fulfilling my vocation, at least in English literature as a grad student. And reading about the work that this woman did and the number of lives that she touched through her service and her outreach kind of inspired me to go back to my undergraduate roots. I did do a theology major while at SLU. And so as I was kind of going through this mini personal crisis of, I'm not on the right path, what am I going to do next? My program ends in about 5 months. I saw that SLU had started a relatively new program called the Masters of Religious Education degree. It's housed both in the School of Education and the Theological Studies Department. So on a whim, I applied. I had already missed the deadline too, so the fact that they let me in, just, wow, God was at work. But I got in. And shortly thereafter, realizing that I was going to need to be working and putting myself through yet another graduate program, College Church posted an opening, specifically in their religious education program. And since I had already kind of found myself on the path, I figured, well, that seems like a pretty good sign. So let's give it a whirl. And I interviewed, I met the people on staff here, and it was a really good fit, and it worked out. So
What year would that have been?
This was 2019, which feels like just yesterday, but also like a decade ago at the same time.
Sure, yeah. Well, what are some of your responsibilities in that?
So really, I think the most concise way to describe it is I accompany families through their journey of, be it sacramental, we do a lot of sacramental prep, of course, but kind of helping them navigate what formation of our faith and spirituality looks like at a bunch of different ages and stages. So our CGS program, of course, works through
CGS being?
Yes, Catechesis of the Good Shepherd. It's the Montessori-based formation program for our kids. And there's also the traditional religious education route, I think, which most people are probably the most familiar with. It's the typical PSR or Parish School of Religion. But so basically we have options all the way from pre-K through 8th grade. And then we also have youth group, which has been kind of in a process of reinvention, and COVID-19 has only really highlighted how much work there is still to do in that area.
The youth group is more for older kids, correct?
Yes, so our high schoolers.
Okay.
Technically, PSR formally ends in 8th grade after information, but of course we all know that's not when our formation or development stops. It keeps going, and so youth group kind of is the niche for those students.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's very generally speaking. I also do a lot of very technical things like help facilitate registration and giving our catechists, who are wonderful and lovely, some resources and support that they might need, communication and outreach with parents, and looking for service opportunities for our program as well.
That's wide ranging. That's really great. So I can only imagine that your mind is filled with all kinds of moments that stick out to you from your time, because that's a lot of kids and that's a lot of families. But are there particular things that stick out in your memory from your time here?
Absolutely. So part of what has been so special about this role for me is because I went through RCIA, I didn't really know what more traditional sacramental preparation looked like. And this role has kind of given me an opportunity to see what that looks like and have a very insider perspective. So a lot of my big moments have been witnessing that firsthand, seeing all the preparation that goes into it. 8th grade retreat, my first year here, was absolutely beautiful. I loved being a part of that and the conversations I had with some of those kids. They're still with me today. And just last week, witnessing First Communion and realizing that this is my last First Communion that I'm helping to facilitate here at College Church made it all the more special and significant for me. And Father Dan delivered just a wonderful homily. So I felt very, very lucky to have been a part of that for the time that I've been here.
That's cool. So you're going on to work at Fontbonne, which is something you've been doing along the way as well. Yeah. But what do you know at this point about what your responsibilities will be there?
Yeah, so for the past year, I've been their graduate assistant for their campus ministry program. And starting in July, I will be taking on the role of interim director of campus ministry and chairing their committee on mission and heritage. So yeah, I mean, the titles I think kind of convey a very particular message, but if we break it down, it's not all that different than what I've been doing. I am primarily responsible for the liturgical events and event planning that happens on campus. So anything from our campus ministry masses for our Catholic students to a more ecumenical and ecclesial prayer services that might happen. I think that one of my biggest goals going into this role is making sure that non-Catholic students are still feeling like they are seen and being heard, which can be really difficult.
Sure.
Just because I think that people hear campus ministry and they're going to assume that that is a specific division of whatever office or charism that the campus ministry department is situated in within the larger institution. Yeah. Of course, I'll be doing some retreat planning, fun stuff like that, student engagement. And also with the Committee on Mission and Heritage kind of looks to the formation of faculty, staff, administrators. So the entire campus community, but in a bit more of a professional development sense, making sure that everyone is familiar with the founding mission, values, and principles of the Sisters of St. Joseph, who founded Fontbonne. Yeah.
What do you think you're going to be taking with you from your experience here into your new role at Fontbonne?
Oh, everything. Really, I feel like there aren't too many differences other than the fact that I'm going to be a resource for individuals who aren't necessarily Catholic. That's maybe one big difference, since College Church, we are Catholic. But it's very similar in the immediate context of a campus minister needs to be accompanying the members of their community, being willing to listen to whatever needs the community has and looking for ways to serve in that capacity. But even more foundationally, the Sisters of St. Joseph were actually founded by a Jesuit priest. Father Jean-Pierre Médaille, a little bit of history. This was in France, if you couldn't tell from some of these names. So I feel very at home there. Ignatian spirituality fits right in with the sisters' views and perspective on Catholic spirituality, which makes this feel like a good fit. So I'll be taking a lot of that with me as well. And then on a more personal level, I plan on bringing all the personal connections I've made at College Church with me too. I've already collaborated a little bit with Christine Dragonette from social ministry and looking for ways to get Fontbonne students aware of the service opportunities that we have at College Church.
There you go. All right. A little cross-pollination there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the name of the game. Just like I've been getting some Jesuit priests to come say Mass for our campus ministry masses. So if we can kind of maybe build a little bridge between Fontbonne and College Church, I think that would make my heart happy and hopefully benefit both communities.
Fabulous. Well, and on a personal note, it's just been great to work with you, Joanna, and wish you the best in your new role. Thank you for taking the time with us today.
My pleasure. It's been a blast. And you'll be seeing me around on Sundays.
Absolutely.